Ray Realms with the super chat says, not meaning to go off topic, but your last episode was epic. Mad insider, even spooky information that you brothers weren't scared to explore. Yeah.
We're still exploring those
We're
comments.
still exploring,
Yeah.
And we're looking forward to hearing from OG, you know what I'm saying, so we can hear a little bit more about his tenure at Def Jam and stuff like that. So that we can verify some information, man. Somebody got on Twitter and they tagged LL Cool J and talk about, they talking about you in the chat and this and that, and I'm like, yo, man, I just want to make sure that the facts come out in the way that they come out.
First of all, whoever did that was real tacky how they framed that to LL. Because it's like they actually tried to make it seem like we were the one that disseminated the information. The information got brought to us by somebody live on our podcast. We can't speak to the factuality of it. You and I have been having conversations trying to find out the validity of it. So we're currently investigating for evidence.
Yeah,
investigating for evidence.
And again, man, like I said, we don't know what's real, what's not. Could have been a troll. Could have been somebody who was really a part of it. Who knows? We'll find out. And,
pretty epic troll.
Huh?
It's pretty epic troll if it was a troll.
Pretty epic troll. I'm just putting everything out there. And, and I don't want people to feel like, anybody could come in this room and say they worked for Rockers and, you know what I'm saying, that somebody wrote Traveling Man for most stuff,
I mean, my feelings were. I don't think you understand. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and he said he loved LL, and I believe him, man. I believe that part.
It's hard not to, don't we all? Do you know somebody out here that really doesn't love LL? Like, do you know that person?
If you love hip hop, you gotta love LL. Speaking of which, LL's hosting the VMAs with Nicki Minaj and Jack Harlow.
See, he can do anything.
Who, Jack Harlow or LL? Why is Jack Harlow hosting this show? Let's be perfectly honest, man. I mean, really. It's been a minute since I've heard a song that was forced on radio to this degree. It's crazy, man. Because I don't really listen to the radio like that, but like when I'm taking my daughter around and stuff, I don't want to just put in the joint. I just, go to whatever radio station, and I hear that song in maybe like a 30-minute commute 2 or 3 fucking times, and I'm like, nobody really likes this song. Like, have anybody in the chat been like anywhere and somebody like, man, put that Jack Harlow shit on? Like, really?
That's why I just be riding like with I be riding with my daughter. I just be like, hey, like, how this sound? She'd be like, no, that ain't it. Like,
nobody like that. No, and you know what's crazy?
Ain't no radio finna happen. Like we're lost on radio.
You know what's crazy though? Even with that type of radio exposure, this album came out in May. We're in August. Where the other singles at? God dang.
Very problematic.
Y'all still playing this record? Y'all been playing this record for like 6 months. What is it, 1999 or something?
I don't know. So many people are mad at us right now. It's just like, I don't know.
I'm just keeping it real, man. I think everybody feels the same way about this record, man. Like, this is nothing personal. It's just, I've never seen a record pushed on us like this. Even Beyonce's moving on to the next single.
Definitely feel like I'm being force-fed.
Come on. Even they're moving on to the next single. And it's only been like a month for that record, which is a lifetime in 2022. But to play a record for 6 months in this era on the radio, that is insane.
It's very gin and juice like, except for the record. It's definitely not gin and juice.
It's not that era anymore, like where you can play, like manufactured hits is what I call them. And so anyway, yeah, he's going to be hosting the VMAs. And you know what? One thing that I will say about this too,
very good for his brand.
Before I get off of this soapbox, if he's like that, why can't he just host the VMAs by himself? You need the support of LL and Nicki, huh?
Because he... Okay. So Nicki...
I was looking for an answer.
Those are classically trained people. Okay? They have done things in TV and in film over a course and a duration of time. Says they have the capability to host this show. He's definitely there to learn.
So you're saying that they are training their possible replacement.
I mean,
Well, that's not too far off because we're talking about a gentleman who got on Ebro in the morning and bragged about the fact that he didn't even have to do a tryout to get the role for White Man Can't Jump too.
told you. I mean, I didn't let him in the barbecue. Did you let him in?
I don't think anybody did.
I was on the grill.
They're still trying to force him in. I don't think he's in the barbecue. They tried to get Brandy out there on stage with him at the BET Awards. That still didn't take. Had Lil Wayne out there. Had a bunch of dancers out there. He out there doing the electric slide or attempting to do so at the BET Awards. No one's still taking it.
I used to know this dude, Mike. His name was Big Walt. Big Walt used to tell me, he used to be like, he's like, Coop. He's like, you can't just spray certain things on like it's cologne and expect people to, not smell your shit still. You know what I mean? He's like, you can't spray it on, Coop. You feel
Listen,
me?
man, at the end of the day, man.
It really don't matter how many times they spray it on, like, you know what I mean? It's like, that's why I'm kind of, like, I get what you're saying, and it's kind of like a serious issue, but I'm kind of like laughing it off because it's like, well, what it's really showing you is it's like, oh, well, you can keep on spraying it on, but it's like, that don't make it authentic. It's like when something's authentic, I mean, like, there's certain fragrances that I keep, you know what I'm saying? And I can literally go, ksh, ksh, and it stays on the entirety of the day. And then the next time I should wear that, even after washing it, you can still smell it on your clothes. You feel what I'm saying?
No, really.
Like, because the authentic, the real stuff, you know what I mean? You can't get it off when it's real.
Yeah.
When it's not real, you got to keep spraying it on to make it smell good. You got to keep on reapplying it.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, listen, I think that at the end of the day, I just want everybody to earn it, and
right.
Earn that spot. Because if they had somebody like Dua Lipa doing, hosting the show, I'm like, man, she got hits. Shit, even if we talk about somebody like another person who gets played on the radio, but it doesn't feel forced, is Doja Cat. Her shit's everywhere.
I knew you were going to say
everywhere.
Her.
And it's rightfully everywhere.
She's a more deserving host and more interesting.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Even the record that she got with Tyga, I'm like, man, this is a hit.
I'm thinking about a potential back and forth, not only with her and Nicki, but also with her and LL. And it's like, oh, no, I can see that.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to throw a rookie into the fire to, like you said, train them up, at least let it be somebody who earned it through hits.
So this is what I mean. It's like, so let's go to like a franchise. It's almost like, it's different when you play for the Lakers and the Celtics. You know what I'm saying?
It is.
It's like that's who he is right now. It's like they put him like almost like on the winningest franchises in history. It's like he's not just a rookie. He's like a rookie for the Celtics or the Lakers. That's a different type of rookie. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
You feel me? It's like that. The notoriety, the look on it is different. When Dirk was a rookie in Dallas, wasn't nobody paying attention. When Kobe was a rookie in LA, people were paying attention.
No, that's real. Matt Max in the super chat says LL top 5 ever. Laughing my ass off. Had you in the chat speaking crazy on LL. No, man, that was the chat, like you said. Not us. Jay Short with the super chat says Timbaland gonna produce Harlow's next album. Timbaland gonna be like, I'll take it over. Let me get that.
That better not happen. We're gonna have a whole.
Well, you know what? If it did happen hypothetically, would you be surprised?
Nothing surprises me anymore.
We're going to talk about producers today, too, and we're going to talk a little bit about what Diddy had to say about Trilla and the fact that him and Jermaine Dupri are going to be doing I guess, kind of a versus, but it's like a hit for hits, also the Bad Boy thing. Said they're going to do it in Atlanta. We'll talk about that. But I want to get on to, I want to keep talking about some of the new music, too, before we go on to that.
That's just very problematic. We're going to talk about Biggie Smalls.
What you think about the Your Old Drugs album?
I was really impressed.
Okay.
Although I share some of your same behind-the-scenes sentiment about, what and who he sounds like.
Yeah. That's always tough. But, yeah, it's some dope hardcore music, man. I think you think it's a top 20 album in 2022? From what
It
you
has
heard
a
so far?
I mean, it is only 16 minutes long, but it definitely has a chance to be because there's really, you know, it still does feel more like an EP. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? And it's not necessarily about the song length. I think it's more about the brevity. I think, you
People in
know,
the chat saying it's fire.
because
Yeah.
it is
Yeah.
like so I'm gonna tell you. Let me just read my notes out right quick.
Uh huh.
I said this is the difference between an EP. This is the difference between a true great EP and an album. The feel on this EP, it's great. It's old fashioned. The beats and the bars are absurd. And then I went to some of the bar work. You can't spell caption without the first three letters.
Mm.
Another one. Make a rapper get in touch with his roots like Black Thought.
I remember hearing that line.
It's like,
Bars.
so the bar work is there. The beats are there. The brevity and the awareness about the project is not up to par. So it's like we need to get the word out more. And he might want to think about doing an extended version with about 2 more songs to make this about a 21 to 22 minute project to make it a little bit more, fulfilling. Like
Mm-hmm.
fill up the plate a little bit more. Not even song wise, just like this isn't a song thing. This is a time thing. Like a couple of these records could have been 5 minutes wrong, and he could have went in different. He could have did some Timberland type of 2020 experience, Justin Timberlake shit, and switched the beat. You know,
You
three
know,
and a
I
half
think we
minutes
live in a
in.
real delicate time right now when the streaming era is one of those things where it's like I can either make a super lengthy album or a super short album, and I think that everybody's trying to find that perfect median. I think Kanye was on to something when he did the 7 song thing. I think
Yeah.
for a lot of people, they feel like that's too short. But when you think about people's attention span when it comes to listening to a cohesive effort, I think that that's kind of spot on. I think the
Okay.
other approaches what Game did with the 30 records, and it's like, okay, well, I'm going to make a record for everybody to put on their individual playlist. Game essentially made a playlist style album.
So, and I dig that because it's one of those things. It's like, oh, you can hop in your whip, hop back out, hop back in, keep rolling. It feels new.
Yeah.
So I get the psychology behind that. But let me express another psychology to you because I wrote about this when the whole 7 song thing was happening. This is before we had the podcast. And I wrote the reviews for what? Daytona, Kids See Ghost, Yay, and
Nasir?
Nasir. Yeah. And part of the reason why I said that is because, well, here's the reality of the matter. Look at what gas prices are. Look at what the working wage is. People are trying to get where they need to go as quick and possible and get back for a variety of economical ways.
You're right.
And so you might only have, people used to not mind traveling and being in the car for hours
And just
flipping the
ride.
plate. Right. People mind now about the cost of food, the cost of gas, the cost of cars, the cost of everything. And so people are moving different, and people have been moving different for a minute and making their lives more compact and efficient. And so that same person that didn't mind being in the car and out with their family all day and going here, and there for about 2.5 hours, you got them for 30 minutes, Mike.
You're right. Eric Terrell with the super chat says, Mike and Coop, Jodeci versus H-Town, 10 songs. Don't do Jodeci like that. No disrespect to H-Town, but
Yeah. I don't want to disrespect H-Town either.
Yeah.
They got some stuff like They Like It Slow, but they don't got
Jodeci is a monster, man.
Now
people in the chat are saying that Drillmatic's fire. Some people are saying it's whack. Listen. What do
We're
y'all
somewhere
think?
in the middle.
I want to know
really
what people
album.
think, and maybe I should put a poll in there, like, because somebody just said it's better than It's Almost Dry. I don't know.
That's not true.
They both have very similar issues to me.
Yes.
Yeah. Cohesiveness.
You want to know what? That was my note that we need to get to right quick that we really didn't do. We've done a Friday show, a Monday Patreon show that we're going to talk about in a little bit, and a Wednesday show, but we have not officially rated Drillmatic, Cheat Codes, or Traumazine, Meg's album, and we need to give them official ratings. So what are we? So
we
rated?
No. We rated those two on the Patreon. No, we didn't rate Megan.
Hold on. What we gave? We gave cheat codes 4.5.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
we
was just
rated
making
it on.
sure
Yeah,
because I
after we
wasn't
went through
sure.
and played them, yeah, we rated on the Patreon,
Okay.
show.
And the games album, we gave a 4.
Well, I believe so, or 4.25. You got to go check out the show. But yeah,
Very
the
problematic.
link to the
That was early.
Patreon's
That's my
up top.
rest day. I'm gonna have to recalibrate everything
Yeah, yeah,
around it.
yeah. Esquire with the super chat says, y'all heard it here first. JID's The Forever Story is shaping up to be a strong album of the year contender. His last two offerings were solid, but this one may be the one. I'm glad he said that because we were going to talk about JID. What do you
We're
think
gonna talk
about?
about his 2 songs.
What do
Yeah.
you think about that assessment?
What do you think about the songs? Because
I
I was
think they're
pretty
just.
impressed.
You're impressed? I'm
I
not
was.
overly impressed. I think maybe I need to hear it in the flow of the album.
Okay. So I'll tell you what I wasn't impressed by. I wasn't impressed by everybody else but him. You weren't impressed with the JID songs?
They were
I
cool.
was sitting I was sitting listening to it, and I was thinking to myself, like, Meg's been answering these questions about her flow sounding the same. How come nobody says that about 21?
You're right. 21 really isn't even out here like that. You know what I'm saying? Like
He's been doing a whole bunch of guest verses for a minute, but he's been doing more than Lil Baby, which I'll give you credit for because you said you prefer 21 to Lil Baby, and he's been the one that's doing like all these guest features.
But he hasn't really given us. Well, he gave us Savage Mode 2 in 2020. Was that 2020? And then even before that,
him and Lil Baby haven't dropped since 2020. It was just Lil Savage dropped later in the year, and Lil Baby dropped early.
But I feel like before that, what was it? 2017? Because I know we were waiting on Savage Mode 2 for a minute.
Might have been.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think we get so used to people in their class and that make the style of music that they make to come out so frequently. When you make these kind of spaces, it's like you're not here anymore. You know what I mean? And it is interesting for them because they're of the era where they're the social media artists. So when you see these artists on social media all the time and you don't hear their music but in like 2 or 3 year increments, it feels like they're not working. You know what I mean?
You want to know what? That's very valid. It can feel that way.
Yeah. And not to say that they aren't, but it feels that way. Because somebody like Kendrick, you never see him on social media. You know what I'm saying? So when he takes his breaks, it's like, okay, it's just Kendrick living his life, doing his thing. But if you see these guys posting shit on social media every day, like a Lil Baby, like a 21 or whatever, and then you don't hear any music for 2-3 years, you're like, what's going on?
Okay, so what do you think about so listen, what do you think about JID? Because we just got done. Because here's the thing, we're having like a little bit of an Atlanta conversation today, which actually is funny because it doesn't happen too often on this show, and we're based out of Atlanta, and you are literally from here, and I'm about as from here as you can get because I've been down here since I was literally 1 year old. Like my birth certificate says Charlotte. I've spent more time in Atlanta than I have in Charlotte.
And I want to talk about, as a Atlantean, I want to talk about that Jadakiss bar where he says, "Why does New York radio sound like Atlanta?"
Right.
But
no.
To get to your other point, what do I think about JID? I think JID's nice. I think that he can rhyme. I think he lacks in the voice department, but I think that is
you can't really control that.
No, you can't control that. I think but he's somebody that's probably of the Kendrick era. You know what I mean? Where he's probably heavily influenced by Kendrick to the point where it may have influenced. Not saying that's not his voice, but you know how you approach your rap voice.
Okay, so let me ask you something. Lyrically, how about this? Because we're having a conversation.
His flow is crazy.
So, you brought up Sci-Hi, and we talked B.O.B.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to talk T.I. Lyrically, where would you put him in reference to them? Because he's not Andre or CeeLo, in my opinion. And so who is he in relationship to those three guys, though? And you can throw Luda and Big Boy in there, too. Like, who is he to you lyrically? What do you hear?
Lyrically, he's not Sci-Hi. I think lyrically, when you talk about punchline rhyming, and I think if Sci-Hi was from Brooklyn or Queens, we would hold him high as a punchline MC. So
Okay,
he's not him.
okay. So here's what I'm okay. And even though you think Sahab is probably a better punchline rapper than these guys, you don't find Sahai to be a better lyricist than Andre or CeeLo inherently, do you?
Uh, man, that's so. We've talked about our whole discrepancies with Andre's lack of solo material,
I'm just
but
talking. No.
based
We're not talking about that.
but
I'm just talking
based
about the
on
skill
the
level.
work that
No, we're
he's
just talking skill level. We're talking the skill level.
skill level, no, I don't. And
Okay.
I think that the
No.
other part of that is just the massive amounts of diverse material and subject matter that people like CeeLo and Andre could take on and make it connect and make you feel it. Now, I think JID is incredibly technically proficient, but I don't think he makes you feel in a way that some of those artists do. And Saha has even done that. Like, I love the record Don't Be Good, Be Great. Like, I wake up to that shit in the morning where he starts off with the Tupac interview or whatever, and then he
I'm not
goes
talking.
in it. That shit's hard. And I can't say JID's made anything that I've connected to like
Yeah.
that. Not yet.
Yeah.
No. He has
I'm
the
gonna,
ability to do so, yes.
so I'm going to squab with you a little bit, not a lot. And here's what I'm going to tell you. I agree with everything that you're saying, but I'm going to tell you what I heard on these two songs because I thought about Sci-Hi is that, well, no, but he lyrically flow and delivery wise is close enough to Sci-Hi. And it's looking like to me that he might end up being a better song maker than Sci-Hi. And in this game, that trumps that super lyrical miracle if you can come close and be the better song maker. And so what I hear potentially is somebody that could be an all-time great MC, at least down here in terms of how we're ranking him, because I see Sci-Hi type of capabilities lyrically and flow and delivery wise. But I see a song maker that might come out that's better than Sci-Hi. And I think that this album is going to tell that tale or not.
Well,
And so
I
I think
hope they
it's
both
important.
drop an album this year so we can kind of really measure that evenly. Because I think Saha has some pretty good songs on
And
No Dope on Sundays, too.
and also too, I mean, and this is for me because Mike, I mean, most of my time down here, most of my childhood down here was spent either literally in the city of Atlanta or on the east side. And it's like to hear these guys rap like this, like knowing what it sounded like when I was a kid.
It's great. Mad Max with the super chat. Shout out to Mad Max repping for his generation. He said, Cap, the
Like it was
generation.
tag team on Memorial Drive, and you know what I'm saying?
Mad
Like,
Max says, Cap, the generation attention span isn't that bad. I listen to Illmatic, 50 minutes and 9 records, almost 4 minutes a record. These guys don't have enough content to make 4 minute records. Daytona's mostly 2 minutes and 2 minutes and 30 second songs.
Illmatic is 39 minutes and 20 seconds. First of all,
Mad Max also says, if the music is good, we're gonna bump the music. The music is an experience. You can't do that in 2 minutes. That's why today's music doesn't hold. I think that's a
you
really good point because there's
that
only
is.
so much you can do in 2 minutes.
It was funny. My sister, my youngest sister, was 15 years younger than me. I can remember about 4 years ago, we were out. Where were we? I forget where we were. We were at a club. It was literally me and my sister and my brother. I was with my younger brother and my younger sister, and we ran up into the spot right quick. And she was like, "Yo, Coop, we don't care, right?" She was like we know that the music's not good and it's just like the music for the moment and that it's not gonna stay. And she was like, and we don't care. I was like,
That's
oh
a fair
fuck.
point.
I
Yeah.
was like, that was real. She's about 21 when she told me that.
But what does that
21.
do for music in the long run?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, so they're just not concerned with it. They're just concerned with what they feel and what they vibe with right now. And so music does kind of get made in that way. I think what the mature artists have done and the real tacticians, the real artists, the real MCs have learned how to fit what it is they do into a 2 minute and 30 second to 3 minute and 15 second format. And Mike, that's not too much uncommon to Berry Gordy's theory when Motown is first
No, you're
coming out.
right.
See, these things cycle themselves.
I was gonna
So we need
say,
to stop. So we need to stop treating these kids like they are fucking stupid.
no, I
Berry
agree
Gordy
with you.
did
I
the
was, I
same
was
thing.
gonna say, man, when you talk about that format of 2 minutes, 30 seconds, 3 minutes, it reminded me of like the hit radio records from the '60s. Because I remember there was like a radio station here in Atlanta that used to play music from the '50s and '60s when I was growing up, and me and my dad used to listen to it. My dad was a teacher, so we had summers together. We ride around listening to that, and I used to be like, Dad, why are these songs so short? Yeah. So no,
Look
this
here.
isn't anything new. But see, this is before albums became albums, and they were selling mostly singles. Before the Beatles came along and actually put concept albums together, and people were making short songs for the radio. And so I
Mike,
think in the digital era, we're back in that mindset, whether people want to admit that or not.
you didn't even know what Diana Ross's voice was really like because the damn record was fading out by the time she really started singing. Like
Right.
singing, by the time she started singing.
Right. When they start really going on
Right.
their runs, the records start tuning down, and
Yeah. By the time they really start doing, like, because they would just be, singers are just like ball players, like rappers, like they get about 2-3 minutes in. Oh, that's when they start feeling it and ad libbing and running. Damn
Gotta
record
warm it
going
up.
off when they start doing the runs. All the records are like that. It's like, oh, she can sing. Hold on, fade off. Next song.
Mad Max to the super chat says, however, we feel about Drake, K. Dot, and Cole. They're the last rappers who had albums where they even had songs with 3 verses. They also are the last superstar MCs. I really do feel like Drake is probably the last superstar that the industry was able to, I don't want to say create, but you know what I mean.
Cultivate.
Launch.
Harness to success.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't think that they have successfully launched a superstar since Drake.
No, they keep trying to spray it on Jack Harlow. That's what I'm saying. It's like this. When and I'll say this about Drake. This is what I mean about a certain level of cream is still always going to rise. Oh, they didn't have to spray that shit on Drake, but one time.
Yeah. And he helped them out a lot too because he put in the work. Whenever he showed up to a feature, he showed up. And the songs were important.
Hey, don't get it twisted. It's like Rick Ross, like all these dudes. Yeah, they all they all use Drake.
007 with the super chat. Shout out to 007. He says, I overshot Game's album. It is a 4.25. But trimmed to the best 12 songs, then the rating will change. Maybe I sound like an old head, but the game has changed with artists. I hate social media and social media's impact. Also discuss DJ Clue's remarks. What were DJ Clue's remarks? I missed that. Did you know anything about DJ Clue's remarks?
No, I did not.
You want to Google it real quick, maybe? I don't know. Is it that serious? 007 said it's 007.
007 said it?
Yeah, that was 007 saying that. Michael Sanders with the super chat says, I think Saha is better lyrically than Andre and CeeLo. Just my opinion. I understand your opinion. And I don't think your opinion on that is crazy. Because Saha, if you put him in a situation where it's just him and the mic, you're going to hear some mind-blowing shit. I'm going to give him that with the LA Leakers freestyle that he did this year. I think that's freestyle of the year.
No, I get what you guys are saying.
I get what he's saying too.
In this rap, okay, I'm just gonna let that go because it's like, I mean, the guy that's hanging on my wall, I keep talking about him because it's like, oh well, you're lyrically better than him. Show me where else that you're better.
Yeah, that's fair.
Where else is Sci-Hi better than Dre? That's what I'm saying. Is it's like, oh well, that's fine. He can be lyrically better, like if you say so, and even that is debatable.
Yeah.
But everything else is Andre. It's like, well, who has the better voice, delivery, cadence, nuance, content? Like, where you want to go? Where you want to go other than lyrically? Because
all right, this is where I think about.
It's not personal. It's
Dre.
just like for as much flex as we give Andre, we do have to understand the only reason we give him flex is because there's no solo album. If you just want to start comparing MCs and be like, hold on, who checking what boxes? Ain't nobody in Atlanta checking more boxes.
Like if you want to just pull up his 16 ain't enough verse, it's like, yeah, nah, this.
I mean, actually, if you want to go, if you really want to go checking boxes, there's nobody in the South that's checking more boxes. It's just the box that he's missing is like the biggest box. It's like you're the best student in the class, and the final is 30%, 40% of the grade, and you don't show up to the final, but you're the best student. Everybody knows you're the best student in the class. Like we all know. We all know who the best student in the class is.
Finals matter.
But the final matters.
Yeah. Man,
the final counts on your grade.
Yeah.
It counts on your grade. Just because you're the best student in the class doesn't mean you get to skip the final. In hip hop, the final is the solo album for the MC.
It is. It is. Even for people like Prodigy and Jada, like, you know what I mean? We were waiting on that final album. I think Kale just sent me a text. Did you find what he was saying about
cool shit? No, I look.
Let me see.
We're in Atlanta. That might be, you know what I'm saying?
Well, sure. Let me see what Kale. 007. Now me.
You know, my Google different. They're like deer and fucking geese around here. Like,
man, there with the super chat says, 80s, 90s had the best rap songs. 3 verses, 3 minutes and 30 seconds.
But hold on, and also too, you want to know you know. This is my cousin Six. This is what I mean about how everything that I listen to riding around with him. Eric Sermon actually did this format, the hip hop format that exists now. Eric Sermon actually did this on El Nino. Every track on El Nino really doesn't go past 3 minutes and 27 seconds. It's short, it's compact, it's compressed because he was dealing with 2 very, very lyrically dense guys at once on an album. And so his best way of feeding it to you and still making you nod your head and making it enjoyable while still keeping the lyrical credibility intact was to give it some brevity. And so El Nino, you remember El Nino Death Squad? Every record on there is like 3 minutes, or 3 minutes and 30 seconds, or 2 minutes and 45 seconds, or 3 minutes and 16 seconds. That was strategic. I think there's only one record in there that clocks like over 3 minutes and 45 seconds on El Nino. So it's also, too, we need to stop acting like the wheel's getting reinvented. Like, artists do this when they see that it fits.
Right. And I think we're just seeing it a lot more consistently now. KD says, Shaq said Drillmatic is album of the year. That means it's album of the year. Yeah, what Shaq said?
Who said that?
Shaquille